I've got a serious problem on my farm that's costing us between $15,000 and $20,000 in crop losses this year. It's called bindweed. And if you've ever seen this growing on your farm, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But despite this terrible weed devastating our crops in my field and 2 of our greenhouses, we're still selling between $3,000 and $4,000 a week at peak season in vegetables. And this video is all about how we're still able to make healthy profits despite this terrible weed costing us thousands of dollars. The biggest mistake I made when I first started growing in 2020 was I did not cover the land with a silage tarp for a year before I started growing. I just tilled it and started planting right away. And that worked for a couple years, but slowly but surely the bindweed, grass, and thistle that did survive have continued to grow every single year to the point where now, as you can see, over half this field is overrun with invasive weeds and basically ungrowable. If I was gonna start over from scratch today, what I would do is cover whatever land I'm gonna grow on in silage tarp for a year. Then I'd immediately go into the no-dig bed building process, which is basically laying out 1 layer of cardboard and then 6 inches of compost in your growing beds and 6 inches of wood chips in your pathways, like the beds that you see behind me. That way you have a blank slate from day one to plant into, really fertile soil that will produce really good crops your first year without all of the problems I'm dealing with now. So if you're new to farming and want to get into this, go that route and avoid the pain that I'm going through right now. I can't start over from scratch right now because my farm is less than 1/3 of an acre in size and I have lots of customers that I still need to feed every single year. So I can't put a huge portion of my farm out of production for over 12 months. What we're doing instead is we're gonna slowly transition the entire farm to no dig style like what you see behind me. And the next time we do it, we're gonna add even more cardboard than what I did here. I only added 2 layers of builder's paper underneath these beds, and the bindweed and grass is still growing through, but it's much less voracious than it was before we had the no dig setup. So in our field and our greenhouses, we're gonna add somewhere between 2 and even 4 layers of cardboard rolls to suppress that terrible weed from growing through and slow it down so we can have as close to a blank slate as possible to grow our crops next year without spending hours a week pulling bindweed. And I know this will work because these 2 caterpillar tunnels were our trial this year and the production is off the charts in here. We're producing better yields than I've ever seen in my field with this system, even though we're still pulling bindweed and grass through the cardboard and compost that we laid down in the spring. If you'd like a downloadable step-by-step guide on how to set up a no-dig farm, you should totally grab my free Backyard Farm launch pad at the link in the description below, because that gives you a step-by-step instruction manual on how to do this, how to calculate the amount of compost you need for your specific land base and wood chips, and where to buy materials. Plus, there's a high profit crop list with a list of the top 20 high profit crops I grow on my farm with the likely yields you're going to achieve on a specific square footage, and an annual planting schedule you can customize to your climate so you know when to start and stop seeding every crop you need to grow to be able to make money on a farm. So if that sounds interesting, grab my free Backyard Farm launchpad at the link below to take the first step to building your own backyard veggie farm. Right now, the bindweed is costing us our 2nd crop in almost all of the beds in our field. Normally, I like to grow 2 crops in every field bed every year. But right now, the bindweed is so overgrown in this field that it's not even worth me trying to replant most of these beds. So that's where I'm losing $15,000 to $20,000 because this field should be producing at least $32,000 a year. It's also costing us greenhouse tomato and cucumber production because it's so thick, it's starting to climb up the plants like you see here and choke them out. If you've got any invasive weed problems or if you've got experience dealing with bindweed on your farm, comment below and share your experience. I really would love to know how other people are dealing with this terrible weed across the world. I would love to know every possible solution to this out there. So please, if you've got experience or success dealing with bindweed, share it below and help us all deal with this problem. Even though our tomato and cucumber production is down overall, we're still producing 150 pounds at least of tomatoes a week and somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 pounds to 100 pounds of cucumbers a week, depending on how the weather is and how much fruit is actually set on the plants. That's more than enough for us to still get that beautiful draw effect by bringing tomatoes to our market, putting them at the beginning of our stand, having people zoom in on the tomatoes at the entire market, and then they have to walk past all of our highly profitable stuff to pay for the tomatoes. So they have to walk past our salad mix, our cilantro, our dill, our parsley, our radishes, our beets. All those crops make us lots of money and are really easy to scale production on the little amount of good quality beds that we have on our farm to keep us in business and keep us making serious profits every single week, even though we have this huge problem. So even though our production is down, things are still looking really, really good for our farm because I'm not using tomatoes as our actual profit center. The tomatoes are more of a draw for the crops that really make us money. Cilantro has been one of our biggest success stories this year because we have been able to get at least 2 cuts off of every bed we've planted, even through 110-degree heat, because we're growing the Calypso variety. I have tried a few other varieties in the past. Last year I tried Cruiser. Every single time I planted that variety, it bolted before I was able to get a cut. This variety allows us to get 2 cuts where the cilantro will be even a little bit taller than this, where we're getting over 200 bunches on one harvest. That is huge money for a small farm like this. This crop makes up for the bad bindweed beds that we've got on our farm. And we're selling it like crazy at our market because right now there seems to be some kind of fear about cilantro that's brought to the grocery store. So we're able to sell each one of these bunches between $2.50 and $3 a piece. And we can fill our veggie boxes with them and sell them to restaurants. So it's really been a massive profit center for us, and that's a huge deal because we can grow this crop in less than 45 days from transplant to harvest in the bed. So every 60 days or so, this bed is producing somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 to $600 in revenue. That is massively profitable for a farm of this size. We're also having our best season ever in lettuce mix production. Not only are we getting better at producing it, the demand has also skyrocketed because of the whole cyclospora outbreak, that people are worried about getting sick from eating lettuce from the big lettuce farms all over the country. So we have been planting this kind of Salanova lettuce all throughout the farm that's absolutely crushing it. We just harvested 60 pounds out of this bed yesterday, and that's only the first cut. We'll probably get another 20 or so pounds out of the second cut. We've also been direct seeding Starstruck lettuce mix from Johnny's because I wanted to experiment with that to see if we could get similar production from just direct seeding it, and it's been amazing so far. We've gotten over 80 pounds on 2 of our beds that we've tried so far, and I've got 2 more growing, and I'm gonna plant 1 more this season. That's a huge deal because it eliminates a lot of labor required to grow Salanova. I don't have to pay somebody to seed 3 flats or transplant 360 plants in the ground by hand. I can just run my Jang seeder up and down the bed and seed lettuce mix and get almost the same result. And I can harvest it with the quick cut greens harvester. So that saves a ton of labor and gets almost the same result as transplanted Salanova lettuce. Either way, it's super profitable. We're getting anywhere from $600 to $800 a bed in salad mix because we're selling it like crazy and we're able to finally grow it like crazy. Radishes are also saving our season because we're able to seed these into a terribly infested bindweed bed and get a crop in 21 to 30 days that's worth $450. So every month we could basically seed a new crop of radishes on top of a weedy bed, and we could still pull the weeds in between the harvest of that crop, and it grows fast enough that we can constantly flip existing beds by amending them in between crops and growing another crop after them. So the more crops you're able to produce in a single bed, the more money you make, basically. Between these 3 crops, they're all quick crops, they're all highly profitable and have a great demand, especially when you have a draw crop mixed in like tomatoes. None of them are gonna sell great on their own, although this year salad mix is selling great on its own just because of the fear around cyclospora. When you have them in combination of a really good draw crop, you can make a lot of money with very little space when you master growing these crops reliably and in succession all season. Even though my farm looks like a mess right now, the future is looking really bright because I know how to fix this problem. That gives me hope for the future to where I'm not going to be suffering pulling grass like this for the rest of my life. The problem that we're looking at right here is solvable. It's not terribly expensive in the grand scheme of things, and it's gonna radically change our business over the next couple years. So hopefully, if you have a farm that looks like a mess like this right now, this gives you a little bit of hope for the future on how you can solve a terrible invasive weed problem like we've got right now, and encourage you not to give up if you're thinking about giving up. And if you're brand new to this and you've never farmed at all, try and avoid this in the first place and just do what I say by killing the existing plant life before you start your farm, and then go no dig. It is the easiest way to get crazy good results your first year. I'm Zach Buckle, and I'm a year-round veggie farmer on this less than 1/3 of an acre plot of land in Cody, Wyoming. If you want to start a profitable farm like this, or make your existing farm more profitable and avoid tons of mistakes like the ones I talked about in this video, I work directly with people like you in my Backyard Farming 101 mentoring program, where we go over everything you need to know to make your farm profitable, including no-dig farm setup, succession crop planning, plant propagation, greenhouse growing, sales and marketing, and everything you're going to need to know to avoid as many mistakes as possible and become profitable as quickly as possible. So if that sounds interesting, you can apply for Backyard Farming 101 at the link below and schedule a conversation with me. Worst case scenario is we'll have a lovely conversation, and I'll send you on your way with some free resources that are going to benefit you at whatever stage in the journey that you're at. If you want to go even deeper down the backyard farming rabbit hole, you should totally check out this playlist, because it gives you a bird's eye view of what you're gonna need to know and start thinking about to build your own backyard farm. We go over what it costs to start a farm, the best crops to grow, how to sell your crops, and a whole bunch more in this playlist. So click here